Hello, everyone. It's a day that everybody's been talking a lot about political happenings in Cameroon, and we felt it wise to come here to look at what is happening in Cameroon at the moment, get reactions from political analysts, get our correspondents from the ground to also react to the current political situation in Cameroon at the moment, from a staunch supporter of President Biya's government to an opponent. That's a question that we are opening this program today with. Issa Tchiroma Bakary, famously described by so many people as the songbird of President Biya, and his entire government seems to have ended his partnership with the regime after being with the regime for more than 20 years. And it's even gone as far as more than 25 years, looking at when he became Minister of Transport and then parted ways briefly and then came back as Minister of Communication and then Minister of Employment and Vocational Training. Now, reports as that he was resigning from as Minister of Employment and Vocational Training has sent shockwaves across the national territory, people reacting across the board. Please let me know in the comment section if you can hear me, if you can see me, if this is a topic that you're interested in. We want to know what your questions are because we are bringing a political analyst on board tonight to talk about this topic. We're also having a correspondent who is in the far north region to tell us what the atmosphere in that part of the country looks like. Also, this is a time for us to analyze, to give our opinions about some of the issues that are affecting Cameroon and beyond. So this is a topic particularly that so many Cameroonians are interested in. And before we came on here this evening, we just had an email that got into our newsroom, and the email was indicating that Issa Tchiroma Bakary and his political party has issued his manifesto detailing some of the things that he wants to do to tackle youth unemployment in Cameroon, to tackle the Boko Haram crisis, the Anglophone conflict that has been going on for 9 years and counting, and also his program for Cameroonian women, how he wants to tackle corruption and so on. I want to look at the document and read it out. But I should be very, very precise that we are not sure of the veracity of this document because it just came in before we came live on here. And we have different social media platforms, of course. As we go on to verify and confirm, we'll be able to put together a detailed report about what is in the document and what Issa Tchiroma Bakary's manifesto is. So what we've gathered so far from the document is a 20-page document that came in just few minutes, I should say few seconds before I came on board tonight. It's actually saying that he's announcing his candidacy for the 2025 presidential election in Cameroon. I'm going to be reading it because I want to be very, very accurate, and I want to also quote what is on that document. And he is also calling for what he has described as national reawakening, and he argues that Cameroon is at a breaking point, suffering after decades of misrule. Those are his words. Centralization of power after suffering from corruption and injustice. So his message is looking like a passionate plea for democratic transition in the country, national unity, and the return of power to the people. Like I said, this document just came in a few minutes ago, and the media is not yet on this because we are still trying to really verify. But I need to tell the audience that, okay, this is the latest. He's not been able to confirm it, even to confirm whether he wants to run for the president or not, or whether he's resigning or not. But this document has not stated whether Issa Tchiroma Bakary is resigning. It has not said that. But looking at the way his tone was in this document, he's talking about the fact that the regime that is in place under President Biya, 92-year-old President Biya, who has been in power for more than 43 years, he says that the current regime has failed. He says that it is time for the current regime in place to step down with dignity. So does it mean that he too is stepping down with dignity? That's the question. So he also says that democracy must mean real power for the people. And when you hear power for the people, what do you think about? Me, John Fronte, right, of the Social Democratic Front. And he says that when he's talking about power to the people, he's talking about free and fair elections. He's also talking about electoral reforms. We know renowned politicians in Cameroon like Professor Maurice Kamto, Kawala, Michel Ndoki, so many politicians that have consistently called for electoral reforms in Cameroon. And these are the words of Issa Tchiroma Bakary, who served the government for more than 20 years. The questions I know many Cameroonians will be asking, why now? That's also the question I have in my mind. So if you permit me, I can also still like kind of just read through the document to tell you that he's also mentioned about the need for national unity. He says that what is being described in Cameroonian as national unity is a farce, because there's a lot of tribalism in Cameroon, there's hatred, there's exclusion that is destroying the national fabric of the Cameroonian society. He's also proposing a new federal structure. So this some sort of looks like his manifesto, the way I'm looking at it, because he's kind of structured it from what he would want to do to Cameroonian youths, what he would want to do to bring back unity, which has to do with the form of the state, because he's talking about the Anglophone crisis and also Boko Haram, also promising dialogue and recognition of the English-speaking population. He's talked about justice, equality, and the rule of law. We also see Issa Tchiroma Bakary talking about peace and security. Remember, he's made a lot of statements that could trigger insecurity across the national territory, especially when he was Minister of Communication. We know how he's intimidated journalists, how he has even spoken against international organizations fighting for the fundamental rights of Cameroonians. We know him as a minister who could say anything just to defend the current system that is in place. He also talked about providing jobs for young Cameroonians. That's also another aspect of curiosity, given that he is actually Minister of Employment and Vocational Training. And many of you in the comment section would obviously ask, what is his track record? Good question. And a lot to talk about. We'll probably be looking at it, but I don't want to dwell on this alone because we have a lot to discuss today and we don't have a lot of time. So amidst the reports that he's going to be resigning, because this document that I've just been reading through didn't specifically say whether he wants to be part of the Biya government again or he is resigning. It's not clearly stated that, but we are having a lot of updates for tonight. And just for starters, here are the images of Issa Tchiroma Bakary. These were like fresh images that came through from the far north region when he, particularly from the town of Garoua, when he arrived there today, is actually his hometown. And there are reports that he's resigning and from his post as Employment and Vocational Training Minister, and so many Cameroonians have been reacting. Not because it's the first time. It's not because it's the first time that we are having a government minister resigning. This is not happening for the first time. It's actually because of the political weight that Issa Tchiroma Bakary actually carries as a political figure in Cameroon. Unlike other political parties, Issa Tchiroma Bakary he's having a huge presence in the political scene. He's got a huge following. Let us just look at some images of members of his party. We can see like this is one of his gatherings. It took place in the town of Garoua. That was his hometown. In Maroua, as we can see actually in that image, we saw how thousands of people came out just to welcome him. This is how huge, you can see even in the banner and the placards, but it took place like about 2 years or 3 years ago in Maroua, in the far north region of Cameroon. So so many Cameroonians came out from that part of the country to welcome him, to like kind of promise the support for Issa Tchiroma Bakary. So he's not a lightweight political figure in Cameroon. That's why this particular story is making a lot of news across the national territory. So he has also been entrusted key ministerial positions, like the Minister of Transport. I think I said that just a few seconds ago, and he's been Minister of Communication. And between the various intervals that he served within the Biya government, then at the moment, he's the Minister of Employment and Vocational Training. So amidst his allegations, because many people will be asking, like, what is really the latest? What is the latest? A good question. So we'll present this image to you so that you can see what.
Vous avez des bagages en dessous?
Il y a le DGI encore un autre monsieur.
Vous avez des bagages en dessous?
Non, non, je suis rien.
Ah, c'est vrai.
So the crowd there waiting to receive Issa Tchiroma Bakary in his hometown that took place today afternoon in Garoua, north region of Cameroon. So amid his alleged resignation, he did not attend the monthly cabinet meeting of Cameroonian ministers that was chaired by Prime Minister Joseph John Gute. It took place yesterday in Yaoundé, the capital city of Cameroon. So he arrived his hometown in Garoua, that is in the north region of Cameroon this afternoon, where reporters were also expecting him to make his big announcement. But that announcement did not take place. So reporters there said that Issa Tchiroma Bakary refused to speak to the media, and he said that he was only going to grant a press conference later. But we are also getting reports that there will be a press conference tomorrow, the 26th of February, Friday, 2025. So we'll keep our eyes on what is happening actually at the moment in the far north region. And in the meantime, we're going to try to see if we can get our correspondent who is in the far north region. We'll always try to make this program as bilingual as possible, because Cameroon is a bilingual country, so that people from other parts of Cameroon as well can understand what exactly we are talking about. So our correspondent has just joined us. Bonsoir, Dairou. Bonsoir. Merci de nous joindre ce soir. Je voulais seulement vous demander quelle est la situation, l'état des lieux à Maroua ce soir?
Il faut dire que c'est l'arrivée du ministre de l'Emploi et de la Formation professionnelle, Issa Tchiroma. La population, bien entendu, comme il a été dit qu'aujourd'hui, il devait... Mais ce qui n'a pas été fait à son arrivée, c'est une arrivée presque discrète, il faut le dire, parce que c'est juste un poignet de sa famille qui était là sur place à l'aéroport international de Garoua. Et puis, il a repris la route de sa résidence. Il n'a pas dit un mot. C'est ce qui aujourd'hui ajoute encore du suspense pour ceux qui sont dans la partie septentrionale du Cameroun en général, mais celle de la région de l'extrême nord en particulier.
Okay, que disent les populations de l'extrême nord aujourd'hui par rapport à ces rapports, ces allégations que le ministre de l'Emploi va démissionner du gouvernement Paul Biya? Quelles sont les réactions de l'autre côté?
Bien évidemment, vous savez, c'est la population qui a souffert pendant 42 ans, qui auparavant a regardé ces membres du gouvernement qui font partie de ceux qui ont causé du mal à ces populations. Mais aujourd'hui, l'œil, c'est le regard de ces populations, c'est dire qu'on attend, est-ce que Issa Tchiroma va démissionner ou pas? Si c'est le cas, pourquoi il ne pose pas, pourquoi il n'a pas déclaré? Vous savez, c'est cette attente-là qui fragilise aussi, c'est la population qui attend voir effectivement, même s'il arrivait que Issa Tchiroma aujourd'hui déclare, depuis de ce qu'on voit au niveau de la région de l'extrême nord, beaucoup ne croient pas, ne croient pas à sa démission. Mais c'est la vérité, c'est ce que Issa Tchiroma déclare effectivement qu'il quitte le gouvernement.
Donc, ce que je comprends, c'est les populations ou la population de l'extrême nord veulent que Issa Tchiroma Bakary doit démissionner.
Oui, plus que bien avant, c'est sorti au niveau de leur formation politique où on parlait de la démission. Vous savez, pour la population, c'est dire que bon, si un membre du gouvernement déjà quitte le bateau de cet régime, quitte le navire, ça veut dire que c'est une autre victoire. Mais du moment où on annonce la déclaration et que la population attend impatiemment, ça veut dire que la population a soif de voir le jour où il va déclarer pour savoir effectivement que le ministre Issa Tchiroma a compris que ce gouvernement ne vaut plus la peine.
Et puis, est-ce que tu peux nous décrire la situation actuelle à l'extrême nord? Quelles sont les attentes des populations de l'extrême nord cette année 2025? Nous sommes dans une année électorale et est-ce que les populations de l'extrême nord cherchent à avoir un nouveau leader? So what is going on their minds? Would they want to have a different kind of leadership? Puisque la plupart des leaders des élections qui ont gagné, entre guillemets, par le président Biya, la plupart des votes, c'est à partir de l'extrême nord parce que c'est la région le plus peuplée du Cameroun aujourd'hui. Quelles sont les attentes des populations et qu'est-ce qu'ils pensent par rapport à cette année électorale?
Vous savez, pour la région de l'extrême nord, c'est 14 ans plongés dans l'insécurité, plus de 30 ans sans eau, plus de 30 ans sans lumière. Imaginez la suite, parce que la population, elle attend qu'il y ait un changement pour qu'aujourd'hui, on ne parle plus ni de le problème d'eau qui pose aujourd'hui, parce qu'on se rend compte, même dans la ville, même dans le centre-ville, les gens en manquent d'eau. Et il n'y a pas de lumière, il y a des coupures intempestives. C'est ce que la population veut un changement pour que la lumière revienne, pour que l'eau soit stable et pour que l'insécurité prenne fin.
Et puis, pour finir, qu'est-ce qui va se passer à partir d'aujourd'hui? Qu'est-ce qu'on peut espérer à partir de demain? Est-ce qu'il y a de nouvelles? Et est-ce qu'il y a is there any major news that we are expecting to see from the camp of Issa Tchiroma?
Oui, maintenant, la population, vous savez, déjà, elle garde le silence, elle aussi. Déjà, on attend parce que, comme je l'ai dit, vendredi, c'est le moment le plus attendu. C'est le moment le plus attendu parce que tout parle déjà de la journée de
So that was Cameroon's MMI's correspondent in the far north region talking about the situation, and he was saying that the expectations are very, very high, and people would want the Minister of Employment and Vocational Training to come clean as to whether he's resigning or he is staying with the government but declaring his candidacy. That last question, I was trying to find out from him, what if it's just a prank like what we've been seeing on social media every day? Like, could it be a strategy to rally support for the system that is in place and has been there for 43 years, a 92-year-old leader in power? Because before we've seen opposition leaders saying that, oh, we want to challenge President Biya, and last minute they changed they changed automatically and became supporters of President Biya. Is this going to be a similar scenario? We are not sure, but this is, of course, the first time that we are hearing something of this magnitude from Issa Tchiroma Bakary, and that's why it's making headlines in Cameroon. It's also not the first time that he's making very strong statements. A few weeks back, he's been talking to people in his locality about the need for change. The question will always be, why now? And talking about reactions, because a lot of people that have been reacting, a member of the government who also joined the ruling party through a partnership, who is Maître Jean de Dieu Momo, has described allegations of Issa Tchiroma Bakary's resignation as treacherous. He had a lot to say. I would want to quote him because I want to be very, very accurate as to what he said. He said, my brother, Issa Tchiroma Bakary, it really surprised me. And now, how will President Biya look at me as if I'm going to do the same thing? Certainly not. So he's feeling like he will be looked at by the government in place like someone who can also betray President Biya. But he's assuring his master that he's not going to betray him. And he also referenced the predictions of Professor Pienka, stating that the future he predicted is unfolding before our very own eyes. He also said that I am not crazy. I'm quoting him, to resign when I have been given the rare privilege to serve the people from a position handed to me on a golden plate by President Biya. And he added that I've gone too far in my support to turn back. And he also went too far with his support for the people, the population of Cameroon, to turn back. What do you think? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section. This is another minister, his Deputy Minister of Justice in Cameroon, Maître Jean de Dieu Momo, was reacting after this. But the government has not issued any official reaction so far, no statement, no communique on the part of the government. We are still waiting to see what the government has to say about that. And to be very precise, this was the outing of Maître Jean de Dieu Momo on his official Facebook page. It's called, this is how he's called on Facebook, but that is actually his Facebook account, and you can see ends it with the hashtag Momo. So that is actually his Facebook page. So we also have a lot of Cameroonians who've been reacting. We have it's making headlines in Cameroon. Of course, when something is on the headlines, it's in the headlines, many people are talking about it, and it's a developing story as well. So far, Cameroonians have been reacting and also asking a lot of questions, but on the side of the opposition, we've not seen a lot. Is it maybe they are just being skeptical and just watching to see what could possibly come out of all of this? Could it be a movie in action, or could it be reality? Is it fiction, or is it something that people can actually really believe in? But we have learned that Professor Maurice Kamto's party, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party, is going to be holding a press conference tomorrow. We are not sure whether it's related to this or anything will be said in connection with Issa Tchiroma Bakary's alleged resignation. So there are so many questions on the minds of Cameroonians, because we at MMI and also the Cameroon News Agency, as you can see, we've been doing a lot of coverage on that. You can go to our website, www.mimimefoinfos.com, to see what kind of articles we've been reporting, all the reactions are on there. You would want to see Metro Jean de Dios Momo's reaction in full and what other Cameroonians have to say about that. But there are a lot of questions to ask as well. Why now? That's a very big question, an important question. Why now? Another question is also people asking whether is he doing this for the general interest of Cameroonians or because this is an electoral year, In other words, is he doing it for himself? That's also another question. There is another school of thought questioning the credibility of the whole Tchiroma saga. Can we trust him? Is he a messenger from the government to sway people's opinions and derail the population from the real objective of what the Cameroonians are looking forward to, having a leader who can address the pertinent issues affecting the society at the moment, address the Anglophone crisis, the Boko Haram war, insecurity generally. We have the microbe that are penetrating the hearts of the capital city and also the economic capital, Douala. We have IDPs in different parts of the country. We have children who cannot go to school because their parents do not have jobs. We have teachers who have issues, bad roads, accidents. We Cameroonians in general, including myself, I'm a journalist, but Cameroonians in general are looking for a leader who can address these problems and more, who can provide that solution that they have been looking for several decades. Could this just be a distraction? That's one of the questions that people are asking. So if he really wants the best for Cameroon and Cameroonians, should he actually be given a chance to younger people, or should he be running as candidate? Looking at his age, we had reports that several months back that his health was also failing, like the health of President Biya is failing, members of his government, the head of the Senate, the head of the National Assembly. Is this really what Cameroonians deserve? Leaders who are getting older and older every day. Should he give the opportunity to the younger generation or to other younger people? Or is this all that Cameroon has got when it comes to leadership in the country? So these are some of the questions that we are going to be putting to a political analyst, Fabrice Lena, who is joining us now live from Europe. Fabrice Lena, thank you so much, and thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hi, Mimi. Thank you for having me on your platform. I'm glad to join you once more.
The pleasure is ours. So I just wanted to find out from you, because you've been following from the background, what do you make of this alleged departure of Issa Tchiroma Bakary from the government?
You know, the politician called Issa Tchiroma Bakary is one of the most controversial and unpredictable politicians in contemporary history of Cameroon. This is somebody, if people don't know, this is somebody that went to prison at the age of 35 in 1984 because it was alleged that he participated in the 1984 coup, given that majority of the people who were part of that coup were from the northern regions and in support of the government of Ahidjo, and were not happy when Ahidjo gave power to President Biya in the way he gave him. And after being in prison for 6 years, he was released in 1990 under the influence of the governor by then, Edgar Alain Mebengo, who is also in prison now. And his political career began at that moment very actively, but people should know that he started in controversy and he's actually ending in controversy because in the 90s, when he was in his 40s, he joined the party of Bello Buba Maigari, the UNDP that we know today. But just after the 1992 elections, the controversial result, he was appointed in the government of President Biya without the consent of the national president of the UNDP, Bello Buba Maigari. And he was appointed alongside Amadou Mustafa, and all of them were in this party. And between 1992 to 1996, they were in a serious power tussle, himself and Bello Buba Maigari. All of them were in power tussle. But what happened between that period? The Central Committee of the UNDP expelled them from that party. That's Issa Tchiroma himself and Amadou Mustafa. And they launched the ANDP, headed by Amadou Mustafa, between 1996 to 2002. Still, the relationship between Amadou Mustafa and Tchiroma again got to a rupture where they had to part ways, and Tchiroma went back again to the UNDP, coming back to Bello Buba Maigari. So this guy had always been a very controversial figure within political parties and even in cases of political alliance. In 2004, he was one of those who were in the panel of discussion in the search for a unique presidential candidate for 2004 presidential elections. But he's also one of the people who criticized that if the candidature is not going to Adamu Damjoya, then Nijon Fundi is not qualified. And there he was one of those architects that led to the failed coalition attempt of 2004 elections. And still, he was serving as an ally of the ruling party of President Biya, because he served in different capacities as a minister in the party in power, but at the same time making a lot of bold and critical statements against the government, and even participating in rallies and underground protest movements in the northern regions. So you can see that this guy's controversy is not today. It dated back in the trajectory of his political career. Resigning in the UNDP in 2005, he launched the FNC, his own political party, by 2007. And when he actually launched his own political party, saying goodbye to Bello Buba Maigari, he now officially claimed that it is time for the people of the Benue, which is his area of origin, and the people of the Grand North to have salvation through his party. But that salvation came with the greatest controversy of the recent moment, because surprisingly, he's one of the political parties who supported the scheme of President Paul Biya's bill to remove presidential term limit in the Constitution of Cameroon by 2008. So in the 2008 bill sent to the parliament to remove presidential term limit, he was one of those proponents who said the bill can be interpreted by whosoever the way they can interpret them. And he officially became part of the what is called the G20 parties, the G20 parties, supporting President Paul Biya since 2009 till date. And what happened was that he was appointed Minister of Communication. And between 2009 to 2019, 10 years serving as Minister of Communication, the memories about him can never be forgotten, because that was the manifestation of controversy, hypocrisy, statements that put people, activists, journalists, politicians, Cameroonians into difficulties. We can always go back to trace those statements he made in Equinox when journalists like Mr. Babila asked him that his government is considered to be a lie-telling government, and then he was humming, not saying anything. That
yes, the interview was actually for Hansen.
So all these things are the memories and the things that Cameroonians hold of his legacy in the participation of subjugation of Cameroonians since 1992, from the stolen electoral result of Nijon Fundi through the gradual annihilation of opposition in the country, to the establishment of the one-party system by the removal of presidential term limits in the constitution, to him being the greatest propagandist of the CPTM regime.
Of course, he's not the only propagandist. It's often said that after the storm comes the calm. Could we be seeing a calmer version of Issa Tchiroma Bakary, and Issa Tchiroma Bakary who would want to right some of the wrongs of the past? That's how I can put it based on your analysis.
From my own reading, I will not give him any credit, but I will say that he deserves to make a...
No, I'm not talking about credit at the moment. I'm talking about looking at, this is his hometown. in the north region, Garoua, one of the areas in Cameroon that's highly neglected. We saw recent reports from the Norwegian Refugee Council citing not just the Anglophone crisis, but also the Boko Haram war, where he comes from, as some of the neglected conflicts in, like the most neglected conflicts in the world, because of lack of support, because of lack of support, and then lack of media coverage and so on. We have a lot of statistics as to the number of people in the far north region of Cameroon that are affected by insecurity. People in the far north region of Cameroon, in the Grand North. When we are talking about the Grand North, we are talking about the north region where he comes from, the far north region, and also the Adamawa region. They are all called the Grand North. So in the Grand North, at the moment, there are there's high rate of insecurity. There's also high rate of illiteracy in this part of Cameroon. The roads are really, really bad. Access to potable water and electricity is a huge problem. One of the questions that I wanted to ask our guest today, Fabrice Lena, is, could this be an opportunity for him to kind of solve some of these problems and say, look, I've been with the government, I've served the government for so many years, and this is time for me to make something, to do things the right way. But announcing that he's going to run for the presidency, what can he do now at this stage? Is this the kind of leadership that, or the change that Cameroonians would want to see when it comes to power change? Because many people have been talking about 43 years and counting is a lot, with a 92-year-old leader who's been there. So many things going wrong in Cameroon at the moment. Is Issa Tchiroma Bakary the person, the face that we want to see as a replacement for this so many decades of stagnation, so to speak, because these are the words that actors of the civil society use. So I want us to go back to some of his promises in the document that I mentioned earlier. We are not sure yet because it's not officially confirmed that is from Issa Tchiroma Bakary, but he's also talking to the diaspora, and he's calling for Cameroonians, calling on Cameroonians abroad to return, invest, and also participate. And he's also saying that he supports dual nationality and civic inclusion of the diaspora. And this is someone who's been with the government for so many years, and suddenly he's coming to say that he supports dual nationality. It's been a huge debate in Cameroon. The question will always be, why is he speaking up just now? And he also talked about reforming the healthcare system for everyone and make sure that access to healthcare is not by privilege. And he is proposing a universal insurance system and improved hospitals and services for people. He also talked about diplomacy, that Cameroon must be open but never submissive. Looking at some of the things that he's saying, these are the things that Cameroonians want to see. They would want to see some of these changes, concretely happening. But coming from a minister who has served with the government for so many years, is this something that Cameroonians are ready to take on board and believe? So I will put the question to you in the comment section and hear what your thoughts are. But if you want to also read some of the quotes that we have in the document, he's saying that power belongs neither to an individual nor a clan, it belongs to the people. He also says that the time has come to return to power to the population. He said that let us rise so that Cameroon once again becomes everyone's concern, and so that power is finally returned to the people. So he's very, very categorical about that. What are your thoughts? This is a developing story, like I said earlier. We will do this from time to time, and certainly tomorrow to talk about the latest happening in Cameroon. We'll certainly also get reactions, because in the northern region today, when our correspondent went to the field, you can see some of the images. It was really raining, particularly these were These are images of Marwa from 11 a.m. to this afternoon. So it was raining cats and dogs. People could not go out because they had planned to assemble and talk about the situation, talk about Issa Tchiroma Bakary, but it ended up not happening. So we'll keep our eyes on what is happening. Unfortunately, we lost our guests, probably connection issues. If he cannot join in the next few seconds, we'll certainly now be saying goodbye because we'll be back again tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching. And until we meet again the next time, it's bye for now.